fired the dishwasher for using the elevator. Company policy: no kitchen staff allowed on the executive floor. It didn't matter that the elevator was empty, or that he only used it because of his bad knee. Rules were rules. So when the CEO saw him step out of the lift, still wearing his apron and holding a mop bucket, he was fired. Right there, no questions. I remember the look on his face. Not anger, not confusion, just acceptance, like he'd seen it coming. His name was Daniel, mid-60s, wore thick glasses, always humming old jazz songs in the kitchen. Spoke with a quiet, polite tone like he came from another time. Nobody knew much about him, just that he cleaned up after everyone and never complained. He left that day without a word. No HR appeal, no final paycheck argument. Just took off his apron, folded it neatly, and walked out the back door. Then something strange happened. A week later, the stockroom locks were changed. A few months after that, our IT director left suddenly. Whispers started. Turns out, someone had been quietly monitoring internal financial activities and exposing shady deals. At first, we thought it was legal, then corporate called it a security breach, but no one ever found out who did it. Until 1 year later, our company was acquired. New leadership came in, cleaned house, promoted some of us who stayed loyal. And on my first day in my new role as operations manager, I was flown out to New York for a leadership retreat. Big hotel, bigger boardroom. I walked in and nearly dropped my coffee. At the head of the table sat Daniel, wearing a sharp gray suit, glasses, same quiet face. Except now, he was introduced as the private ethics auditor for the parent company. The man we fired? He was a planted investigator, sent in undercover. He wasn't just scrubbing plates, he was watching us. And that elevator incident? He took it on purpose. Because the CEO had started getting sloppy, and Daniel needed one last move to see who would cover for corruption and who would stay silent. When I asked him later why he never said anything, he smiled and said, "True character isn't how you treat the man in the suit. It's how you treat the one holding the mop." That day, I didn't just learn about corporate integrity. I learned this. Kindness matters, even when you think no one is watching. Because sometimes, the janitor is the judge. And the man you fire without thinking might be the one deciding your future tomorrow. You might miss out on our next interesting stories if you're not following us. I was 2 seconds away from ending it all when a tiny hand tugged my coat and asked, "Mister, are you okay?" I'll never forget that morning on the Brooklyn Bridge. It was cold, not just the weather, life felt cold. Job gone, wife gone, rent overdue. I stood at the edge, watching the cars blur beneath me. I wasn't crying, I was just done. But right before I took that final step, I felt a small tug on my coat. A kid, maybe 6, brown curls, red hoodie. He looked scared but brave. "Mister, are you okay?" he asked again. I don't know what made him stop, maybe an angel, maybe just curiosity. But that little voice pulled me back to life. I didn't jump. I sat, right there, next to this random kid on the freezing concrete. I asked him his name. Jamie. He told me his mom was looking for work. They'd been walking to a food pantry nearby. I looked over. A woman waved, nervously, watching from a distance. "We don't have much either, but you look sad. And Mom says we share what we got, even smiles." Imagine that. That tiny gesture, it cracked something inside me. They saved my life that day, and they never even knew it. I stood up, walked with them, helped carry their groceries, talked for a while. Then I left. No phone number, no address, just hope. 12 years later, I'm standing in the lobby of a massive tech firm in Chicago. CEO now. Life turned around. Therapy, hard work, faith, and a promise I made to myself. If I ever make it, I'll find that boy. That kid who saved me without even knowing it. For years, I searched. Every name, every pantry, nothing. Until one day, a resume lands on my desk. Internship, graphic design, portfolio from a community college. Name, Jamie Reynolds. Red hoodie, brown curls. Something about the name stopped me. I called him in. He walks in, taller now, nervous. But when he speaks, same voice, soft, kind, steady. I knew before he even said his name, this was him. I asked him, "Do you remember a day long ago when you asked a stranger on a bridge if he was okay?" His eyes widened. He nodded slowly. I was that man. Silence. His hands shook. I stood, smiled, and said, "You saved my life, and now I'd like to offer you a full-ride scholarship and a guaranteed spot at our company." He cried. So did I. Kindness is never wasted. Sometimes it takes 12 years, but it always comes back, especially when it comes from a child. You might miss out on our next interesting stories if you are not following us.